Okay.
Okay, so we can start by introducing yourself first, and then uh we can start with talking about all the policies and priorities you have and everything else.
Sure. So my name is Xan John. I'm a United States Senate candidate, Republican for the state of Louisiana for this 2026 midterm. Well, you being the host and me making a second appearance, instead of just shooting from the hip, please start with directed questions and I will happily, fire off.
Yeah.
And so what's first on your agenda?
First, I think that it should be important to talk about border control and immigration, which is something that I think it's very important in this context right now. So that should be, the first thing that we should be addressing.
Border patrol, border control plus immigration,
Yeah,
issue one, issue two. So as far as border control, I know that there was a lot more deportations under other presidents, especially Obama. I don't even think we've
yeah,
reached those levels yet. I know that Tom Homan has done a really good job, but as of March of 2026, well, I don't think that DHS or anything is getting any funding. I think it's under a lot of scrutiny, and I think all that grinded to a complete halt, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Immigration. I know that we got a lot of Muslims coming here that want to take over. They're saying there are Muslim nations and then nations that are about to become Muslim nations is quite true. And we're swatting a beehive um, with this whole unnecessary war with Iran. So those are my comments
yeah.
on that, unless you want to direct it further.
Yeah, I mean, what is your analysis of these war with Iran, particularly right now? The prices are going up, and it's dividing a lot of the political landscape. You have people from both parties suggesting that this war should come to an end, and some other people from both parties, like, trying not to talk about this.
Of course, yeah. So from the beginning, I'm anti-war, and Trump ran on being anti-war, and the Trump of 10 years ago that a lot of people voted for at the beginning of this
Yeah,
MAGA, which is technically the second epoch of MAGA. In so many words, I use the word epoch loosely. It was borrowed from Ronald Reagan, years
yeah,
ago. Trump even credits him. But so not only am I anti-war, Trump was anti-war. And I think what's happening, based on good sources, unbiased, it's just to report on what's really going on is this whole war with Iran is being used to derail Trump, just like the whole COVID agenda was used to derail Trump. This war with Iran thing is to
yeah,
derail Trump, and everyone wants to put their own spin, or you got to be in this party or that party, you got to be on this side or this side. I'm just looking at what's really going on. Trump was able to hone in and focus on America First agenda things and relevant topics that needed addressing for the citizenry, in the
yeah,
beginning of his second term, because he just got finished doing rallies and was, not surrounded by all these Washington, D.C. Swamp creatures, if you will, and people, with lobbyists and all these huge agendas. And since, the Democrats have been doing so poorly lately with the resurgence of Trump and America First, I say
yeah,
lately, within the past 2, 3 years, Trump has been bubble wrapped. That's again my word. There's been a recent resignation from a guy who is unbelievably wonderful, and there's nothing negative to say about him. And I'm not even crazy about the guy. He's not my kind of outspoken, cockstrong, just crazy America First kind of rabid guy like me.
yeah,
He's actually quite middle of the road, and if we really want to put a label on him, libertarian and just very much a family man. His name's Joe Kent.
yeah,
But what was beautiful about Joe Kent is he also too, based on the tea leaves that I read, said that there's, I say bubble wrapped. Joe Kent says um, an ecosystem around Trump. And Trump, I want to let everyone know, Trump will make the right decisions as far as making pro-humanity and pro-American middle and lower class decisions
Yeah.
if he has the right people around him. The killing of Charlie Kirk was one of his advisors.
Yeah.
The resignation of Joe Kent, and then there's been a bunch of other people, and and then um, what's her name getting let go? They call it the Barbie, DHS Barbie. Anyway, just you have a lot of America First people stepping down
Yeah.
or getting kicked out, and that's unfortunate. And those people are replaced with more and more people that have, I would say, less than America First agendas. And it's sad to see Trump do a 180 on his constituency. And if the presidential election from 2024 were to be held today, then he would lose severely. But it's just such a
Yeah,
paradox
well, it
because
depends
Trump's
on
yeah,
what the Democrats put as, who they decide as candidate, because Kamala Harris was terrible. I think one of the worst campaigns that the Democrats have ever done
one of the most
was
expensive ever too.
yeah, but it was
But
terrible. I mean, them the Democrats should know better than to
they don't. They're
because
rabid
I
at this point. That's what sucks is the people that still cling to it, and it just as more and more irrational things happen, even on the Republican side, and I don't think, one party is going to fix it all, but they're definitely lesser of two evils. But within
yeah,
this, the subcategories of the right of the Republican Party here in the United States, what really hurts is to see Trump, who has the capability, and if given the right information and not bullshitted and just capable of making an unbiased decision, he will do things that are common sense that are wonderful. If anything, over deliver on what it's going to take to perpetuate, uh,
yeah,
a pro-humanity agenda, a populist agenda, a nationalist agenda. And I just think, if I had to put a label on it, I think MAGA died effectively March 1st, 2026. Everyone thinks Trump can pull back, but I don't see him doing that. And I'm not trying to be glass half empty. Why would he? He as awesome as he is, he lacks humility, a lot of humility. He never says sorry. He never, likes to admit fault. He sees that as a weakness. And we have to judge Trump by who's around him, feeding him information. One and
yeah,
two, the fact that he's a 79-year-old boomer, and I can relate, due to the fact my father is, just 2 years younger than Trump, and all they get is the information from Fox News, and all they care about is the stock market or Israel. There's these general boomer things that they care about, and
yeah,
we have a 79-year-old boomer who is getting bullshitted and buffaloed by people who have replaced a lot of America First people, and it's there's a tug of war, on Trump's ear, and it's just a shame. And I have to look back and be grateful, one, that we won this presidential election in 2024. I have to look
yeah,
back and be grateful and count my blessings for the fact that he did do a good job, and we did at some point have Elon Musk in, and we're doing Doge, and I thought we were gonna hit Fort Knox next to audit Pentagon and then get rid of the Federal Reserve. I mean, we were headed on that trajectory. But the bad thing
yeah,
about, I know what Trump's doing, he thinks he's doing is altruistic. And I'm not here to sit and be an apologist for Trump. I'm simply here because it's so rare to get completely unbiased, objective, just assessments, analysis of the current situation. There's so much noise out there. With me, you get signal. I don't care what the repercussions are.
yeah,
And so it just with Trump doing this, like I said, I know what he's doing. He thinks he's doing the right thing, which is sad. But it's the fact that he can start off with these good, even now having good intentions, and that agenda, this war, get taken away from him, get skewed, get the bankers, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, they're all sitting around going, okay, how can we take this and use it to our advantage? And
yeah,
there's a famous saying. I know I'm full of cliches. I said the Muslim thing, and now the Muslim nation thing. Now, the first casualty of war is the truth. And I just don't see this, I see two major things. One, Trump not having the humility to say, I screwed up with this whole thing. But not that I need that, but I think it's past his power now. Now this ball's rolling. He got
Yeah,
lucky with Venezuela, but he really stuck his dick in a beehive with this Iran thing. And I mean, it'd be a miracle for him to pull it out and no repercussions. But I mean, Trump was starting to get cold feet with the war, and then Israel went ahead and struck first. So this thing is quickly going to escalate. I hope it doesn't end up in a world war and or a social credit system because that's, I mean, it's
yeah,
the repercussions. It's the second, third, fourth, fifth. I could go on forever order of magnitude effects. If just gas prices going up $1 or $2 in America was the worst thing that was going to happen, I wouldn't even be complaining right now.
yeah,
But it's the fact that, these wars, all the corporations and companies that benefit, the way it's spun towards the agenda of thing, and it's going to be the excuse for whatever clamping down on our rights.
yeah,
So
yeah, and maybe some, some um, Democrats and some big corporations linked to the, to more liberal ideas are going to benefit from this uh, a lot, I would say,
I'd go for
rather.
I'd stretch that category, I'd bust it wide open, and any sort of neocons, people like Lindsey Graham,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a problem unique to the left, if you will.
yeah,
However, anyone, benefiting from this is definitely going to be, just a general rule of thumb is definitely going to be,
yeah,
anti-humanity, anti-middle class. So I just don't see how the constituents that voted for Trump or the middle class of this nation will benefit from this war.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. One thing before we go to the next topic is
Sure.
that, for people who might who might watch this video later and are based in Spain, because I'm based in Spain. Um, uh, uh, I would like to explain, and maybe you can help a little to explain, because liberal and conservative are terms that are quite different in the context of Spain and the US. So in Spain,
Yeah, the Vox
we
Party, am I correct?
hmm?
Is there something called the Vox Party? VOX?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a yeah, that's a right wing party. And then we have we have another sort of center right party, which is the People's Party. It's called that way, but it's not a left wing party. um, so the what we call in Spain liberals or liberalism is libertarianism is more like Adam Smith economics, classical liberalism, I guess. Not it's not
John Locke.
left wing. Yeah, it's not left wing liberalism. It's more so we had a party called Citizens Party of the Citizenship, Party of the Citizenry, sorry, and this party was well a liberal party. I would say it was not a classical liberal party because uh, it had some other influences, but it was mainly liberal, and it was not on the left. It was more to the right. So, and then of course conservatives are to the right in Spain as well. But the main differences that we have are of course in the color of the parties. So red in the US is for the Republicans, which are more to the right, or even the center in some cases, and and blue goes to the left in the US. It's the Democrats, and in Spain and Europe, it's completely different. So red is more, if a party that has all the logos and everything painted on red, it's it's normally sits on the left side, and a party that is more conservative or Christian Democrat, yeah, they have this blue or yellow color, which is more in the US is that's the difference. And I want me I want you to explain to me the meaning of the flag you have behind you because that's okay. I mean, to the people in Spain that maybe don't know, and a bit about the Constitution, Bill of Rights too, so
Sure,
they
yeah.
can,
So this flag right here has 13 stars.
yeah,
And the significance of that is the 13 original colonies, and it beckons, it reminds one, it is a calling back to the founding principles, the 1776 founding fathers, what we call here in America, that got together and wrote the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which are just the first 10 amendments, which
yeah,
and amendment to the I don't know if you'll have a memo or I don't understand Spain. Please forgive me. I want everyone to know that I'm very ignorant to the country of Spain, nor have I ever been there. I am familiar with a lot of y'all's good wine, Pingus,
yeah,
and the areas of Rioja and Sherry. I know that what's his name? He makes Pedro Jimenez is a really good producer. I know Pingus, and then there's a really good wine. I think it's one of the most expensive wines out of your country. It's called Teso La Manja. I don't know if I'm saying that right, the head of the nun. But if anyone wants to look up good wine, I think the best wine in your country is uh, Pingus, Castillo y Gay, which I have a bottle of around here. I drank was fabulous.
yeah,
Uh, and Teso La Manja, which I haven't tried. Anyway, I know that besides going off and jag about wine, I do understand your country is still a kingdom, though.
yeah.
You still have a royal family.
That's Yeah, yeah. We're stuck in in that situation. Yeah. So the context is very interesting because for example when I talk about the Second Amendment with candidates, if you speak about uh guns and gun laws in Spain is, there's the flag there about
Yeah, it
and
says it
the
right
second
there. We can repeat
yeah.
it verbatim. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I know what it is about, but
no, I
if you
know. Yeah.
speak about this in Spain, you might get people very very not we have young people who might understand more about you American culture and values and the Bill of Rights, but the majority of people in Spain think that having guns is it's equals guns equals violence equals war. And the thing is that your Second Amendment
But y'all
comes
say
from a
that in relation to not having a Second Amendment and not having as robust rights. So to
yeah,
say that would be from any country that doesn't
but
have
because
such a gun
but I think
culture.
it's
What?
but I think it's because of the historical background, because you had a revolution with Spain didn't have a we had many soft rebellions, I would say, not a revolution. So this is why we still have a king, and we still have so many institutions from the Middle Ages. So um, the thing is that we do not have a Second Amendment, and we do not have a gun laws. Because as I was saying,
Do you
coming
mean
from
gun
a
rights?
40, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
not gun
we don't
law. I'm
have,
sure y'all have gun laws. You just don't have
yeah,
gun
but
rights.
yeah, that's right. That's correct. That's correct. No, but I mean, if this goes back to, coming from a 40-year um dictatorship, military dictatorship, particularly in Spain. So talking about, speaking about weapons and guns and any sort of weapon actually triggers this, misconception about, that Americans are always killing themselves and, thinking all these things. And we are very in Spain. We are very supremacists in believing that we always. I mean, I I have friends and family and many people saying like um Americans are ignorant. They don't know about geography. They don't know where we are. They don't know anything about uh the um, the capitals of the European, African, or Asian countries. They we have they have this idea that you guys are very ignorant and don't study anything, and like it's very supremacist thing like that about the American people, because you can say whatever you want about the deep state and the elites. Of course, you have there many, but when you talk like that about the people, it's very supremacist. And what I try to maintain here is that um, as we say these things, then when they ask us about what do we know about the United States, most people don't actually know anything more than Trump is the president. They eat burgers, and if you ask us about cities, the majority will say LA and New York City. I mean, so it's basically, I think we have the same problem. If you don't know many things about us, we don't know many things about you. So it's this, we have to make the connection there, and to get to understand, to better understand the concept of gun rights, because for so many people in Spain it's like uh guns are of the past. And this is something that you guys have the argument in the Republican Party. I've heard to many candidates across the US that you say that it was the revolution that brought you this rights, and we didn't have that. So the idea of the idea from a Spanish perspective, the idea of owning a gun or owning any sort of weapon is like, no, because we had a military dictatorship that used to kill people on the streets, and that's maybe the historical background. I wanted to ramble a bit about that.
I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of things we need to unpack with that. First off, when you say this term supremacist, I understand that, English isn't your first language. So I think what the term supremacist that we could both agree on would be not only talk, but action and have at least two main elements. So supremacist wouldn't be right. I think the word you might mean is hubris or pompousness. But
Yeah,
further on with that, listen, I think a lot of Spain isn't unique to having this whole America, people are fat, stupid, gun-toting, whatever, whatever unflattering view of this country, I think is not, I think every country thinks that they're the best and they're the smartest, da 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 da. But also too, taking that point further, when you mention, Spain, talking about us Americans, part of it is true. So there is some lightning to that thunder, but not as much as one would think. One has to take into consideration, which is hard because there's so much propaganda out there, and I don't
yeah,
know what kind of news actually gets to the Spanish people. So props to you for actually reaching out and touching base with someone in the real world here, and real enough time. I mean, you were skipping any kind of news source to get get a feel for any sort of American general sentiment. But as far as the attack on America. America is under such attack because it has a Second Amendment, because it has a First Amendment, because it has a Bill of Rights, because this experiment of freedom was so popular, and so many people wanted to move to this country, immigrated to this country, and has this country has allowed for such amazing wealth to be generated here, in a relatively more
Yeah.
free than most country place. Um, you know, so for people to say, and painting with a broad brush, these people to say that general sentiment in Spain that you just elaborated on, I think one, a lot of that has to do with, people's hubris and national pride, but even educated people making that statement, it depends on where they actually get their news and if they can even get any good news. And the fact that, I mean,
Yeah.
because this country is doing so well or has done so well and does have such a thriving middle class, um, it's the prime target for any sort of globalist World Economic Forum, UN, NATO, any sort of think tank, Club of Rome to try and crush. It's the last. What is that? That's that saying. There's an old saying. It was on. You can see it in Roman movies like Gladiator from 2000, where Russell Crowe. It says it in Latin. So goes, so Rome goes the rest of the world, or something like that. If Rome falls, the
Yeah.
rest of the world is really good. So if people are starving in America, that means third world countries are collapsing and it's absolute civil war. So the point I'm trying to say is, there's tons of fluoride underwater. There's chemtrails everywhere. They're trying to kill us with vaccines. The school system is being sabotaged. I can go on forever. It's death by a thousand cuts in this country. So to give some credit, though not full, to the people that feel that way, part of it is true. There are a bunch of dumbass people, overweight people, and I'm not perfect, okay? But
No
it's
one is.
true, yes. But the point I'm trying to say is this nation is under significant attack compared to others because of the
Yeah.
freedoms we have and because of the upward mobility we have. So there is so much being done covertly to destroy the knowledge base and healthy, stature and lean figure of people. So the people saying that, like you said in Spain, got to understand the attack that we're under, and there's a huge depopulation effort and a sabotage on our physical and mental health. So,
Yeah.
not trying to make excuses for us. That's all undeniable. I mean, people can Google project. No, it's called Operation Artichoke from the 50s. I really encourage people to, just like the food, Operation Artichoke was just declassified about a month ago. And it was all about Americans are too smart. This nuclear era of the 1950s is bringing about too much prosperity. The middle class is booming. How do we kill
Yeah.
these people without them noticing? And that is every bit of Project Artichoke. Fluoride in water, destroying the school system, just breaking up the family, putting people on welfare, all this stuff. So again, I'll say it. Operation Artichoke, Project Artichoke was just declassified. Read about it. And that's why there are unfortunately so many people, which I want to put it into, that are suffering from poor physical health, lack of education, or they're educated and it's all, leftist communist, ideals that will not result in a proper family and upper mobility. But going back to this whole, I wanted to touch on this whole gun rights deal for people, it sounds like people never had as much freedom and access to guns in Spain as we've had here in America. And you say this
Yeah.
military dictatorship. So that means by what you're saying, if I got it correctly, the military was the only group that had guns. People had guns and could fight back equally. I mean, what you said, people had
No,
access.
no. I
Well,
mean,
then I
the,
don't understand. If you had guns, then they wouldn't have just, invaded. There's this doctrine. It's called mutual assurance. You have a gun and I
yeah.
have a gun, so let's not even tango, right? So I understand, and you can't get that kind of true objectiveness from people who have never lived with guns. I have over 100 guns here. I have a whole bunch. I wish I could lift up this laptop and go show you. I got Desert Eagles, AK-47s, all that stuff. Am I out shooting people? Am I out doing whatever it may be? No. And it's because I was raised with respect for it. I collect them. It's a hobby. And
Yeah.
just because people own guns doesn't mean they're out shooting. Now, all these crime statistics and shootings here in America, 99% of school shootings here in America have been This all emerged like after the 50s, by the way, when the CIA took control. Okay. When
Yeah,
they, overtly, whacked JFK, that was, the CIA flexing its muscle, this deep state. And they're the ones that stage all these school shootings, Sandy Hook, Columbine, all that stuff. When people can get unredacted, Freedom of America, we call them FOIA request, information about these events and find out what really happened, it's all staged. These people that shoot up schools. It's all in an effort. These things are done in an effort to have a big backlash. You see, they're trying to the anti-gun sentiment and anti-gun globalist agenda wants to destroy the concept of a Second Amendment here, just like they did
yeah,
successfully in London and Australia, okay, and in Canada. They have to have some catalyzing event, a 9/11 event, which also too was a big false flag operation. Okay, those people did not need to die. And what
yeah.
about World Trade Center 7? That completely pulverized. We can go off, on that later, but it says we only have 7 minutes left, so I want to try and make this point real quick. People who haven't lived
Yeah,
with
no,
guns
we
have
can go
appreciation of
back
them.
in. We can go back in because I don't have the premium version of
Me
Zoom, but
either.
it's okay. We can go back in
Sure, but I
if
mean, my
yeah.
my defense is three things, just off the top of my head. I own tons of guns, and I'm not out shooting. I have 60 round drums and all sorts of. I have some of the most high tech guns you can have. I collect it, and
Yeah.
that, really, I have it. Just if there's ever a civil war, maybe I got some stuff. But also, I like to shoot. I think it's cool. I love trajectory of bullets and different speeds and things like that, and they're fun, relieve stress. Secondly, is the fact that people that have never been raised with guns or have respect for guns. I mean, how can you take their opinion on like until y'all have owned them and have had both sides equally experienced? I can't just take someone, if you grew up without it, then that's on you.
Yeah.
So that seems really one-sided. And I'd like to mention, that all these school shootings are staged and all these crime statistics are all drug related or cartel related, which the CIA funds. I mean, look up Operation Fast and Furious with Eric Holder and Obama. They gave guns to the cartels, which ended up back across the border to be used to kill us. So, I
Yeah.
mean, if we were left to our devices without any sort of deep state, sabotage, the gun statistics would drop 1,000 fold, and I stand by that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is that I'm gonna see how much time do we have. Yeah.
Six
Um,
minutes.
yeah. Okay, no, no, the thing is that, in Spain, before the military dictatorship, eh, we had a very unstable situation because we had a very small period of a republic in 1872, I guess. I don't remember if it was 72 or 73. Then back again with the monarchy, and then the second republic in 1931 until 1936, when the military decided to make a coup d'état and um, attack because the thing is that in 1936 the elections have been won by a coalition of left-wing parties, and the military was um it was the time of 1930s, Nazism, fascism. So the military were having um this fascist ideology, getting uh, getting to to uh, create. They wanted to create like the um like the Italian state and the German,
Mussolini and
the
all that.
third. Yeah, they wanted to do the same. So basically, they started, and a civil war started. So the republic, the main problem was the republic hadn't been um giving, you know weapons to the people. So if the Republic didn't have an army like that, so when if the Spanish military was against the Republic, so when the Spanish military decided to start this civil war against the Republic, the Second Republic, they didn't have so we had brave citizens who defended the republic, and we had a well the some great anti-fascist groups and guerrillas, and it was the People's Army, which was part of the Communist Party of Spain. Well, that's another history, but that's another story. But anyways, we had like uh the majority of the population were not they were not armed, so they didn't know what to do in that case. So it was very easy for the military and the civil guard, which it's like the military police here in Spain. It was very, very easy for them to kill people without with complete immunity, because the people couldn't defend themselves. So that is one of the main problems the Republic had, is they were focused on advancing um, on many other specific rights like women's rights and whatever, but they didn't expand to try and get the people prepared, because they knew that the military were planning a coup, but they didn't tell the people, and that's another story. But again, the problem began in that during that period. But even before that, I mean, we could go to I could go to the first years of the 19th century. So we had
Let's
like,
pause right there. Let's pause right there. 19th
no,
century. Let's
no,
pick
because
up on that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, let's stop right there. On to part two, okay? So
Okay.
let's end this and we'll try it again.